Something Else Podcast. Welcome back to the Something Else Podcast, Unsigned Mayhem edition. I'm going to do what we just did in the first take. You guys don't know what I've just done there, but I've been pressing buttons. But anyway, before I continue, I do want to say my microphone did break before hitting record, so I'm using a different microphone, and it sounds a bit wank. But I am joined today by two very handsome bastards, Phil and Bruce. Phil, introduce yourself, my man.
Hello, my name's Phil. I have been here before. I was on a podcast a while ago. I did. Which is called I Am Your Music Man, and I am the owner of Room for More Records, and I am glad to be here.
Thank you very much. The other person, my man Bruce, introduce yourself.
Sorry, everyone, Bruce had lost it.
He's had some giggle juice. That sounds disgusting.
Right, I'm a member of Broken Wolf, the band that I am in with Ben, and also was on the podcast before.
You was indeed. I can't remember what that podcast was about.
It was between synthetic music and physical music.
Yes, because I'm very much into. My musical knowledge and style is nothing past 78.
Before that, 50.
Okay, so I'm literally. If it's out on a CD, I can't have it. I'm very much. Yeah, I'm just born before my time. No, after my time. Somewhere that makes sense. But anyway. As I said in the intro, this podcast is dedicated to bands that are unsigned. Local bands that are trying to climb up the ladder. We want to push them, and that's what Unsigned Mayhem is about. So, before we get into that, I just want to kind of give a backstory on how we all know each other. So, obviously, I'm going to put my story in. Back in 2012, was it, I think? 2011. I just turned 21. I got my own house with my then girlfriend, who's now my ex-girlfriend, because she's my wife. See what I did there? Kid magic. Sam, don't listen to this. And it was one of them ones where I'd been playing guitar for a while. I was like, if I'm ever going to do anything, I need to join a band. And I went on joinmyband.co.uk and put an ad in and joined this band that consisted of a bassist and a singer and an acoustic player who really didn't fit in with what we did because he had a Jack Daniels acoustic guitar. And then I just realised my microphone's really far away from my mouth. But then I think the second time we did a rehearsal, Bruce joined. And that's how I know Bruce, because he turned up with a sexy red guitar, beautiful long hair. It was just beautiful. It was a beautiful day. And to be fair, from that point on, we kind of just bonded, really, musically, as friends, as mates, as musicians, and 11 years down the line, we've now made a band called Broken Wolf. So that's how I know Bruce. I know Phil because of Bruce. But I'm going to let Bruce talk now. Bruce, How do we know each other? Now, just give a backstory on, obviously I've just said my half. You know Phil. How did you know Phil?
Well, we used to work in the same company. Not in the same department, but we knew each other through mutual friends. And unfortunately, he lives quite close to me, so we got the same train every day. So I'd bump into him on the train.
I'd moan about work and whatever, and moan about the day, and moan about life. And Bruce would go, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'd get home and say, this is a miserable guy on the train. He moans about work all the time. But I was like, but he's into metal, so he's all right.
Yeah, and then we realised we're like the same bands. I introduced him to a couple of the bands I know when we started going to gigs, didn't we? And the rest is history, isn't it? Really? Yeah, you've been friends for a good few years now.
Yeah, you badged me into going to Bloodstock, and I eventually got a ticket. So
yeah, and we all go Bloodstock every year, and I don't every year, but you've done two now. Is it two?
Yeah, well, I did two about 10 years ago.
Yeah, you've done a couple with us, so I know I get a call in the middle of the night going, Phil, I'm lost. Can you come and find me? Get back to my tent, and I'm going. Because I've had about 10, because I've had a load of beer all day, and I'm just going, I'll come and try and find you. And then I go and get him and bring you back to the tent, and then go moron, and then get in bed and collapse again until the next day, when we do it all over again. So that's how we sort of know each other. And then obviously Bruce introduced me to Ben, And I've been to a couple of to the gigs and whatever, and we all get on quite well. So this is our passion, isn't it? Music, and technically, Broken Wolf are an unsigned band, so we would include ourselves in this, the royal we. This is for everyone who's out there trying to do something really and get themselves heard.
All right then. Well, I mean, obviously we was going to talk about Broken Wolf at the end of the show because this isn't about us.
No.
I mean,
No.
technically it is because we're an unsigned band.
Yeah.
But this is more, we've got bands we want to talk about, but before we get into that kind of topic, let's just talk about how the whole, how the idea of Unsigned Mayhem started, which, to be fair, all came down to you, Phil. Like, because we chat non-stop, really, about music, and you always, obviously, he's got his own thing with selling records, which I highly recommend because they're fucking awesome. My Glow in the Dark one is still fucking mustard.
Yeah, nice, that is. It's a shame it's vulgar.
And I don't know who that band is.
Just joking,
I definitely don't have the woolly hat.
No, it is good. It is good.
But to be fair, like I said, my music knowledge or my music taste is really repetitive. You know, I don't really listen to anything that's modern, apart from Volbeat. But
And
like,
Hailstorm.
oh yeah, to be fair, I got you into Hailstorm.
Yeah, you
what
did,
a change of roles. But it's like you kind of both got me into Halloween.
Yeah.
And now I've got quite a few. I've got, what, 2 of theirs now?
I think I sold you 2, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the most of my current vinyl is because of yourself.
Yeah.
But, like, the kind of idea of Unsigned Mayhem was down to you, Phil. So give us, tell us, even though we've kind of said it, but what is Unsigned Mayhem? What is it all about?
Well, I've got to give credit to the G-Man, which is Ginger Wildheart, who's a big influence on me. One of my heroes in life, and I did say give him a shout out. So Ginger, this is for you. If you like Ginger Wildheart, go and check him out. He's got some new releases out today, which is the what day is it today? The 7th of April.
It would have been my dad's birthday.
Happy birthday.
He's probably telling me to shut the fuck up.
He's probably watching us now, looking down also with pride, I think.
Right, he did love his music, to be fair.
There you go. So
here's a really, sorry for jumping in, but here's a really sad but awesome story. Like, he'd never really listened to anything Broken Wolf did because when he was dying, it was when we just started to get going, wasn't it? But literally on his deathbed, like the day he died, it was really bizarre because I played him our cover of Whiskey in the Jar. No, Whiskey in the Bottle. Yeah. And I was playing him that, and the man literally smiled. And it was, for me, like, because when we was in our old band, he didn't like the music at all. He was very vocal. He was like, it's shit, but well done. It was like, you've done.
well done.
You know, that was his words. He was like, it's shit, but well done for doing what you wanted to do, which is playing a band, get on stage. He was like, you've nailed it. Whereas when obviously coming up to like his last hours, he couldn't talk, he couldn't really do anything. He'd been beaten by cancer, but but seeing that smile, I was like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. But yeah, sorry for jumping in then.
No, it's cool. Don't worry. Nice. It's a really nice story, and happy birthday. But yeah, so it was kind of like Ginger was sort of saying that, it blows his mind. There's so much unsigned talent out there, and a really loyal audience, and people who want to hear it. You know, he's surprised there's not more websites that are looking out for this kind of thing. And I can't remember if it was just before that or just after that, where that wanker Chris Moyles said, unsigned bands are unsigned for a reason because they're rubbish. And I'm sorry, that's absolute nonsense. I've seen some amazing unsigned bands, Bloodstock, where we go. I don't know about, I've not been down for years, but Bloodstock, they've got an unsigned tent. And one of the bands we're going to talk about later on have been on that tent, haven't they? So they have like an unsigned tent at Bloodstock where they have 3 days of just pure unsigned bands. The guys from Bloodstock go around Europe watching bands, and obviously I think the competition is sort of, I've been to a few, the competition sort of go on in the background and they get voted, and it goes down to the last day, the final, and then the guy from I can't remember his name now, apologies, but he comes along from Bloodstock, watches the bands, and then he decides which bands he's going to put on the stage. And I think it's fantastic because, as far as I'm concerned, Download, great festival. I don't really go myself, but there were reasons for that. But Download and sometimes Bloodstock as well. They're putting the same bands on, like how many times have Iron Maiden, Kiss, these bands constantly headlining Download, Judas Priest has downloaded Bloodstock, and I was there and it was great. I loved Judas Priest, but Rob's getting on. Metallica, they're playing Download this year. They're getting on. Megadeth, They're playing this year. They're getting on. So, what's going to happen when these guys get to the point where they're like, we can't carry on anymore. We've just,
Yeah.
I
was thinking
dead.
about this the other day because it's like, when's that torch going to be passed on?
Yeah.
And who's it going to be passed on to? Like, when I saw Sabbath's last gig, was it that gig? They were supported by Rival Sons, which is very much my kind of music. And I was like, it was such a weird one because you've got Black Sabbath, Godfathers of Doom and Stoner Metal. And then you've got Rival Sons who aren't that. You know what I mean?
Good,
and it was like, it was really nice to see that a lot. When I saw The Who, forgive me, but I can't remember who the hell supported them. But I'd never heard of them, and it turns out they were literally just like an upcoming band. But The Who were like, yeah, come on, and that's The Who. You know what I mean? The two original members anyway. But it is that thing like the same people are headlining, and it's like, I mean, how many times are you going to see Kiss?
Exactly.
No one cares about them. We want to see the New Blood and all the bands we've gigged with, and we're like, they should be somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I'm just going to do a shout out now. Blue Theory. Love them to bits. And I want them on the show, to be fair. But I love them. Like, everything about Blue Theory is what I expect to see on stage. They've got a solid sound, great performances. And I'm like, why does no one pick them up? There's all these fucking emo, shitty punk, not punk, because punk's all right, but just shitty commercial music. Oh, it's a nightmare.
It's just because you got people like Kerrang, and not so much these days, but these people, Kerrang, Metal Hammer, the mainstream press who are trying to tell us who we should be listening to. Metal Hammer do that little segment. I don't buy it anymore, but because it's all online, isn't it? But they said that thing I think it was Subterranean or something like that, and it was unsigned bands, and that was really good. But I think what it, Ginger sort of inspired me as he always does. And then that Wanker Moyle started going on, unsigned bands of shit, and I'm like,
you really like him, don't you?
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not having this. I'm sorry, but it kind of, I'm quite an angry person, and it infuriated me that he said that. And Gene Simmons is another culprit. Every time I see that dickhead, I mean, I don't mind Kiss. I don't mind Kiss, to be honest. But every time I see Gene Simmons in an interview, he played Download a couple of years ago, and I remember watching the highlights and whatever. And he's going, yeah, rock's dead. I'm like, we let it go. You let it go, man. Instead of saying rock's dead, use your influence to say, hang on, what about these people? What about these guys? Check this band out. Not rock's dead because you're old. I mean, just because you're old and you're listening to Kiss and probably Barbra Streisand,
But saying that, have you seen the obviously Mick Mars is no longer touring with Motley Crue? Have you seen how he's suing them?
Yeah, I saw today something about they said he couldn't play on stage.
Yeah,
and he was
basically
forgetting the songs, and
he had 25% of shares, because he was like 1/4 of the band. But since he's left, that's dropped to 5%. But he was saying like they were saying that he was just incapable of playing. He's like, I'm perfectly fine to play. I just can't do the touring anymore. And he was saying if you actually basically most of the band, Tommy Lee especially and Vince Neil, he's like a lot of their stuff's pre-recorded. And I'm like, yeah, you've got bands like ours, for instance. We practice like absolute monsters for hours on end. We go on stage and we fucking crucify it because we've put the effort in. But no one comes to see us because we're unsigned. We're an unknown. But
Motley Crue will sort of pull people. I mean, I like Motley Crue.
But that's the thing. It's the name, isn't it? It's
exactly. Motley Crue. I mean, I like Wasp, and I couldn't. I left it too late, and Wasp sold out at the in Wolverhampton. KK Steel Mill, and I was going to go, and it sold out. And I watched some of it on YouTube. They look quality, and it's like but they're still playing small venues, which is great. Where Motley Crue would play probably with the NEC or the NIA in Birmingham. Obviously, people outside Birmingham, it's like the big arenas, but
it's the main one. Let's be honest.
Yeah, the main
what's
one.
it called? It's not even the NIA anymore, is it? It's like
Utilita or something.
That just sounds like something you have to put in your penis for an STD check.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, I won't go there.
We won't get into that situation.
But yeah, so they'd obviously play the biggest venue we've got in the city. They played, Motley Crue would play the biggest venue, but in reality, I'd rather watch Wasp at KK's, which holds maybe 2,000-3,000.
Well, I've seen
watch Motley Crue,
like Ailstorm, one of my favourite bands, because they're not niche because that just sounds too hipster. But I've seen them at the Asylum or Upper or whatever you want to call it nowadays in Brum. And it was such an intimate gig. I think the downstairs can hold 1,000 people, give or take, or 2,000 or something.
About 2, I think.
About 2,
so it's compared to like these 10,000 gigs, it's amazing. But I just find it, obviously, they need the names to pull the crowd.
Yeah.
And that's why whenever you see the bill, it's always, for instance, Kiss in biggest font ever, and then right down the line, you'll see a band, you know, like, oh, there's Hailstorm.
Yeah.
They don't even have fancy font. It's just like Times New Roman or something.
Yeah.
But so that's what Unsigned Mayhem is. It's getting the unheard.
Yep.
It's getting the voices of the people that are trying to be heard now. So the next question is, why are we doing it? Now, we know why it started. So why are we choosing this as the time to do it? Why would you say that?
I just think the time's now. You know, I think we need to do something now.
Yeah.
I feel inspired by what Ginger said. Inspired by my own sort of. You know, I'm constantly inspired by music. I always want to try and find new things.
But I just want to jump in. Obviously, me and Bruce play in a band. You're not. Well, you don't really play an instrument, do you?
No, sadly not.
But what
no.
I do want to say is the fact that the times we've spoken, whether it's on the phone or in person or out on drinks or out on our gigs, like as soon as you talk about music or you're in a music environment, there is literally no keeping you quiet. Like,
I like talk with music.
Like,
I just love
talk about wearing your pride on your sleeves. You know what I mean? Like, it's magical in a way because it's like me with many of my interests. You know, and same with you, Bruce. If once you get going, it's like, yeah, I can't stop now.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like. So to have someone who wants to do something like this, this sounds really bit like pedantic, but a non-musician, it's actually really nice to see someone's looking out for the musicians and the bands.
I'm a frustrated non-musician because, you know, I mean,
I was going to make such a bad joke.
We normally film this, but we're not tonight. But essentially, I've got no hair. You know, and
it's basically me without glasses or a beard.
Yeah, and you know, when I was younger,
handsomer.
I started off with Guns N' Roses. So got me into the scene many years ago. I'm probably talking about 1991 when I started, and Guns N' Roses.
I was a wee boy.
Yeah, Guns N' Roses were one of the first bands I got in. Well, probably the first, rock band I got into. Then followed by Iron Maiden. So, you know, all I wanted to do was grow my hair long, which I did. There are photos, but you know, I grew my hair long. Oh, excuse me.
You know who made me want to grow my hair long when I had hair? Angus Young.
Yeah,
just because of how I used to headbang, I was like,
I didn't get into
yeah.
AC/DC till very much late for some reason. But yeah, so Axl Rose inspired me to sort of grow my hair long. You know, grew a beard, and you know, started trying to learn bass first of all. Couldn't do that; it was too hard to give up. Then I tried guitar. That was really hard. I gave up. Then I realised I couldn't sing, so all I could do was drink and gig. So that's what I spent my life doing, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you know, I'd just love to pass it on.
So would you say, like, not necessarily because of the failings of learning an instrument, but because of your love for music in general? And obviously, a lot of your mates play in bands like Bruce, and many more. And would you say when you see potential that isn't being capitalised, not in a financial aspect, but not being utilised, like why is this band not playing the big venues?
Yeah.
Would you say that is like what fueled this?
Pretty much, and I think it is a real struggle. You know,
and it's not just metal bands, is it? It's anyone.
Yeah, this show isn't just about metal. I mean, my favourite music is obviously rock and metal, and I'll never deny that. But I love indie. I love. Don't
get me started on indie music.
Okay, but you know, when I say indie, like I think more like Stone Roses.
Yeah.
You know, Oasis, Happy Mondays, people like that. I also grew up with. You know, so you know, I like all kind of music that's not manufactured. So everyone, you know, on this show, everyone's welcome, and I mean everyone. But me personally, I'm a metalhead. I'll never deny that. That's my main love. But I love, like I say, I like my, you know, my indie music. I used to like dance years ago. You know, I'll give anyone a go. But you know,
I bet you will.
Yeah.
All right, then, Bruce, what about you then? Like, obviously, we know why Phil wanted to start this whole Unsigned Mayhem. What about you, like, as a musician, I guess, and obviously as a partnership, what makes you feel like this is something you need to follow?
Well, it's about talking about the bands that don't have much of a voice, really, and don't really get much promotion, because like we were saying before, like like there's these platforms where you can listen to unsigned music, but
which we've both used in the
Yeah.
'cause obviously we've been in 2 bands previous, and then you've been in
Yeah.
bands before. I mean, sorry to jump in, but like we used to use Reverb Nation, which is great, but unless you're a musician,
yeah,
it's irrelevant. You know what I mean? The amount of times I shared it and everyone's like, "What's this?" I'm like, "It's where our music is." But carry on, my man.
yeah, and there's not really a lot of platforms. I think Bandcamp probably are doing all right. Like I know this Ginger retweeted about that earlier.
Yeah.
So that's one good thing at least, because I think you can pay what you want for certain albums, pay as little as you want for certain albums. But apart from Spotify, maybe YouTube, but it's all down to the algorithms. So you could easily be swept under the carpet if you're not promoting yourself.
That's like, I mean, obviously we've got the Something Else podcast, but apart from that, I do my own YouTube channel, which is predominantly reviews and like music-based things. And I've been reviewing my Harley Benton MB4 SBK. Was it special? Oh, Dulux series. I've been reviewing a bass, and you know, you try and use keywords, but the algorithm's like, nah, you're shit. You've only got this many followers, where this other person with 4,000 followers who does the worst review I've ever seen. And so far, I've had 2 fucking reviews, like 2 comments, and they're like, this is the best review ever. And I'm like, sweet, I'm actually being seen.
Share it, yeah.
But
yeah.
like you say, the algorithm, and it's not even predominantly online. It's like the algorithm in general. Like, for instance, we're currently in our lockup where Broken Wolf rehearse, which is Rabana's studio in Birmingham, Cleveland Street. One of the best places I've ever been. You know what I mean? It's such a warm, homely feel. But it's like when you look at all the posters, it's like, you know how I design posters. I don't want to brag, but they're the best. Very professional, simple but effective. But then I look at all the other bands, and it's like, there's just it looks like someone's just gone on like paint and just slapped a load of PNGs on there. I'm like, I don't know who the band is. There's too much freaking GIFs on there. You know what I mean? And it's whatever way you look at it, you just get screwed.
Yeah,
it's like we've been on about doing a photo shoot for God knows how long with our band, and the season's changed for the one we wanted to do. But then you look at like pictures of bands, and you're like, it's so cliche. You know what I mean? Like, it's I can't describe how cliche they are.
Yeah,
it's always that the camera's either facing down and you're looking away from it, or you're just looking like you look like Gollum on a rock. Precious. It's just stupid. But anyway, so we spoke about what it is. We spoke about why we do it. The next one is, when are we doing this, boys? Oh yeah,
doing it now.
Yeah, we are doing it now.
Today's the first day of the rest of my life and our lives. So today, from today, we start, we finish, we don't finish, because this job is never going to end, because there's always somebody who wants to be heard. And if we can do our job right and inspire the right people, we've done our job, I think.
And I'll second that. Like, it's not just going to be a podcast and then that's it. There's obviously, depending on how we do this, we're going to have as many as we can. If we can put more time into it, I'm safe to say we all will, yeah?
Yep, absolutely, yeah.
But I'm going to kind of merge 2 questions. So we've done, when are we doing it? And my other one is, where are we going to do this? It's not just going to be podcast, is it, guys?
No.
I've got my own kind of promotion for events. The last 2 gigs, the last 2 gigs we've played, I've put them together under my own promotion, which is Into the Void, not Into the Wood.
Nice one, 3 little wolves.
So it's, for me, it was not so much financial gain for me hosting the promotions. It's just, we've done gigs before where we've worked our asses off to sell tickets, and we've got, I think the one gig we made £35.
Yeah.
And you're like, really? I mean, granted, the first gig I hosted was a charity gig, so we're not going to raise that much money as we did before. But the second gig we raised, our band and another band, I think it was the headline, we won the same. I'd say won. We earned the same amount, which was more than my share as the promoter. And I was like, that's how it should be. The promoter set it up, but the bands are the ones making this shit happen.
Yeah.
So they should get the wedge.
Exactly. Well, look at what's been happening lately with the Academy, the O2 Academy, and all the bands refusing to sell their merch at their own gigs because of the venues like the O2 taking so much money off them.
Yeah.
They actually said, we're not selling our merch because we're not going to make any money from it. And that's wrong. And Brexit, and all right, we don't want this to be a political thing. It isn't a political thing. But bands are saying because of Brexit and everything else, it costs us so much to come to the UK. They're struggling. Some bands don't come because they're struggling, and when they do come, they're selling the merch for like £35 a t-shirt to just try and make a bit of money because of venues taking too much of a share.
And the thing is, I think I'm confident to say even a hardcore fan would look at something like 35 quid. Like, I've got an Iron Maiden hat over there, and I like Iron Maiden. I'm not a massive fan. It's only really the later years that I've got into it. But I do like to have things from gigs, and that hat surprisingly doesn't fit my fat fucking head. But that costs £25. Granted, so I did that. Yeah. Granted, it's a really good made hat. It's a well quality made hat, but it's 25 quid for a hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when I went to Volbeat, because I don't really like the band. I'm just saying now. But when I went to Volbeat, I got a beanie. Happily would have paid the price for that, which was £20, I think. But then when I went to Black Sabbath's final show, obviously I got the T-shirt with the angel on it with Birmingham estimated, was it 1968? But I've also got the tracks they didn't put on the last album, but it's signed. Yes, I paid £80 for that, but it's just because of my love for that band. And to me, that's music. That's something I can keep forever. I've got a signature, but when it's a T-shirt, unless it's got some scribble on it from the band, I don't want it. Yeah, because it's too expensive.
I do like my T-shirts, but they can be expensive.
Oh God, yeah.
I've said no. But when I love Anthrax, I saw Anthrax at me like just before Christmas, and it was mega awesome. But the T-shirts were like 35 quid, and I'm like, I ain't paying it. And then a few months later, they were on sale on Backstreet merch for like 20 quid or something like that.
Well, I think the benefit for us at the minute is we can either do it like I'm a photographer generally, but I can do videography. But we've got my mate, love him to bits. He's literally my brother from another mother. You know what I mean? We've been friends since we were like 8 or something. So Robert, you are literally a godsend in my life. And he's helped us out doing music videos in previous bands, in this band. Yeah. I do my own... I don't do like shirt pressing like silk screening or whatever it is, but I do vinyl printing, the heat press thing. So I can make our own stuff. So for us, it's not that expensive. But other bands where it's like they're trying to push the ball, like when we've done gigs with bands before, and like they take up half the fucking area because they've just got tables everywhere with... How do I word unattractive people, but in a nice way, selling merch?
Well, if your own people aren't selling the merch, or you aren't selling the merch, then how have those people selling the merch got any interest in your band? It's
not even so much unattractive. Maybe that's mean, but if you want to sell something, you got to advertise it, don't you?
That's what I mean. They've got no interest. They're just there like next. They've got that person's got no interest.
For instance, when we did that charity gig, my sisters were selling shit. Like, they were getting the tickets in for the raffles, and it was brilliant because they're great salespeople. Whereas when I've seen bands before, like when we played the O2 Academy 3, and there was that band that, like, they had key rings or keychains, if you want to be American about that. They had all the stuff, but no one was buying anything because they just looked unapproachable and really interested in anything.
Yeah, they're not making anything from it. They've got no real interest in pushing your merch. So they're just like, next. But
I can't remember what my original question was, to be fair. But I think going from what I last remember, which is it's happening now. Something else Unsigned Mayhem is a continuing thing. It's never going to stop unless we decide.
Yeah, I think the ultimate goal, we've already sort of talked about it. The ultimate goal for us is a gig, and
by that we mean like having something like Bloodstock or Download, having the unsigned tent. That would be magic.
We put a gig on where every band on that bill is unsigned, and we, why not a festival? Why not an all-dayer? I think someone said like Phil Fest the other day, but I'm not that arrogant. But you know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with an all-day festival of unsigned bands? Absolutely nothing. And I think a lot of people, including ourselves, would be really, really up for it. I mean, we did that when you did that charity gig. It was absolutely rammer. You couldn't get in the room.
I think that the other thing is as well, after doing the 2 events I've hosted, I mean, as a promoter, presenter, host, whatever you want to call it, and a musician playing, it's knackering. But at the same time, when I did that charity gig, at the very end, the headline act, I'll give a shout out, Waking in the Hollow. It was beautiful because they do pull in a good crowd. And the front man, he was amazing because it was the acknowledgement to say thank you. I mean, I was shattered. I felt like an old man. I was sitting there. I mean, I was emotional on that night anyway because for me, it was the gig was mental health, Mental Health UK. And I could barely get through my opening speech when the band started because it was dedicated to me dad. But at the end of the night...
You would have known that, though. It was so good. You delivered it so well. You were so confident.
Well, I very much appreciate that.
I think that's the stigma about mental health, and issues. I think we've all had our issues, but it's just sort of... Just because someone looks okay doesn't mean they're okay.
And that's why I like music, because you don't need to talk about it. You just need to know someone's there ready to listen. And I think that's what's nice about this Unsigned Mayhem, is because we are looking out for the people that are trying to be heard. And again, this isn't, we're not saying we're here to support. Obviously, we support mental health, but that's not our aim. Our aim is to get you heard. And I think if you look at it in a very big landscape, it covers so many fucking areas. But I think we can do this. Okay. Actually, I know we can do this, and there's many bands, and I do firmly believe this. After lockdown, the whole pandemic and all that, bands have come back stronger.
Yeah.
I know, literally, when Broken Wolf was starting, because we was doing a little acoustic thing with your mate, and that's when we realised, we need to play loud. Yeah. We need to get back in the room and get fucking turn to 11. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was doing that I realised, we need to get a lock-up. And literally, we started doing rehearsals, and then what happened? Fucking first lockdown or whatever it was. Mm. And then everything kind of opened, and we had to stand in the rehearsal rooms in our little tape-tossed squares, wearing masks and stuff. And as an asthmatic and a crappy lung, wearing a mask trying to sing is fucking difficult. And then lockdown 2 happened. And then it was after... Was it... Just if you can hear that noise, it's we're being attacked by seagulls. Have you ever watched that film, Birdemic?
That could be an idea for a band name, Seagull Orgy.
Oh god, that sounds awesome.
Because that's what it says. What's going on up there?
Honestly,
if it was for a band called Seagull Orgy with a bloke who can't sing or play any instruments, give me a shout, yeah.
Honestly, I think we're onto something there. That's the opening act for
only if you wear a seagull outfit while you're doing it.
Yeah, Seagull Orgy, yeah.
But it's
we're gonna patent that.
I can't remember what I was saying. What was I saying?
Lockdown.
Oh yeah. With the second lockdown, was that when I came to Rob's to see if there was a lockup? It was between 2 and 3, so it must have been 2.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, but I was talking to the some of the employees and Rob himself, and he was saying like how loads of bands have split, or they can't afford it, so they've left. And I was just like, fuck. I was in my head. I was like, Rob's is going to close. You know what I mean? I was like, this is how much it's affected him. When everything came back to normal, I guess it's down to the fact that the love of music was like, all of a sudden, they're coming back. And I was like, fuck yeah. Well, you know what I mean?
Well, the first Bloodstock after the lockdown, obviously, losing Bloodstock in 2020, I think it was, absolutely devastated me. And it really knocked me about mentally. It was a real tough time, no gigs and whatever. It was awful. But they came back and all the bands that played it was kind of like a bit repetitive after a bit, but I got it. And I think it was like, it's our first gig back after lockdown. It feels so great to be here and whatever. And it seems like you're saying earlier about cliches. It did seem a bit cliche that everyone said that. But the whole point is, did the band on at the end of the day? Were they watching the band at the start of the day? So, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's probably how bands genuinely felt, to be able to get out there and back into clubs and pubs, playing gigs.
Well, our last gig was, 2018 with Soma?
Well, I mean before that.
Well, either way, it was a long time ago too. When did When did we do that one?
No, actually, it might have been 2018. You're right.
So if we say 2018, it'd been 4 years since we'd played a gig. And in 4 years, a lot fucking changed. Like, me and Sam lost a lot of loved ones. And both our mental health took a plummet. And in 4 years, you know, I had a new baby boy and another one on the way. You know, it was crazy. So it was such a weird thing. And like I said, music helped me. Like that gig, that charity gig helped me in so many ways. Like, I remember doing the intro, like, I want to dedicate this to my dad. I remember looking over to you.
Yeah.
And, like, you can see it on the video and you're just like, you got this. And he was just like, fuck yeah, I got this. And then, like, obviously my mate Robert filmed the whole thing, all the bands. So he was there. God bless him. He was there in his fucking jumper. He just finished work filming. He comes down in his smart trousers, jumping. He's like, I'm fucking dying here. And then, like, there's as the pans, I think we was doing the zombie cover, and you're singing your fucking head off. The wrong words, I think. Could be the drink in your hand for causing that, but it was lovely. And I think it was when everyone started singing that song back to us. I was like, never had that feeling in my life, and I could have cried then. I was like, fuck yeah.
So that's why you get, you know, bands who like say like you never get the highs when you're on stage. You get those highs, and then they come off stage, and it's like, oh. Do you know what I mean? Because you're up, the euphoria's up here, and then you come off stage, and it's like, oh, we're gonna go home then. Oh no, let's go and party after that gig. I think after that gig, it was like, we're going out, we're going, like, you know, like Frank the Tank, we're going streaking. It was a bit like that, like, we're going to the pub, and I'm like, I'm going home, I'm so drunk. Because I've been there the whole time just drinking. I was like, I'm so drunk, I'm going home. But, you know, it was really good, and that, you know, I think that signifies the high that you feel on stage. I mean, I've been on stage before, you know, and I like a karaoke. I did like a karaoke, and like those people have got films of it, like videoed on the phone. Oh, I've seen the video of you doing karaoke. You were brilliant. I was like, come off stage, and I was like, yes, I did it. Come on. And he was like, let's go and get some shots in, like, you know what I mean? But that's what he does to you. That's what music does to you, like, you know. And although I probably murdered the song that I sang, you know, in my head, I sounded like, you know, a rock and roll star, like, you know what I mean?
But it's that initial feeling, and I think being heard. Like, I'm not naturally a singer. I will put my hands up. I'm learning.
No, I'm not having that.
I'm not saying I'm a bad singer. I'm just learning it. I don't know what my voice is capable of fully yet. I don't know what my style is. But having the feedback of the band itself, I was like, chuffed, you know what I mean? But, excuse me, what we'll do now, because I think we've summed up what the Unsigned Mayhem's all about, what our aim is, what the project's going to be doing. I think we've cleared that up. So what I want to do is talk about what's on this show. So, this show, we have 7 bands, believe it or not, people. 7 bands. Now, it's not the same music, like we said. We are very inclusive. We want, if you can sing, play, read poetry, we don't care. Even if you're an instrumentalist, we want to hear you. And we've got quite a variety of bands.
7 very different bands, I would say. I would say no 2 bands are the same. Or even similar.
No, true.
The bands we have, and I'm going to read them out in no particular order, and when I play them, they won't be in any particular order. They're just going to be what's in front of me. So, but I will say this. We do have a couple of exclusives today. We've got an exclusive from a band called Mechanized. That's right. Hang on. Let me do this properly. Mechanized. Oh yeah. You guys are still looking as if you say, what the fuck are you doing with that button? It vibrates my chair.
Plug me in.
We do have an exclusive from Mechanized. It's pretty good. Have you guys listened to it yet?
I've not heard it, so I'm proper.
It's good at it.
It is good, yeah.
I've heard Mechanized, but I've not heard the new track, so it's going to be as much a surprise for me as it is for you.
And then
it'll bow your face off.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I'm not going to say too much until we play the snippet of it. So we've got Mechanized. And then we also have, as of this recording, the 7th. I sound like freaking Mike Tyson then. This recording, the 7th.
Or Eubank.
Oh, yes. All I need now is a monocle and some sweeties. As of this recording, the 7th of April, 2013, 2023. Honestly, I'm losing me marbles here. We do have, I want to say an exclusive. We've got a song from Crystal Teardrop. Now,
we love this.
When I heard this, I was like, where the hell has this been? since 1967.
We love this.
Like, I'm not going to put too much detail in it.
It comes
we're
out
gonna talk
today,
about
so
it.
it's not an exclusive anymore. If we could have got the podcast last week as we wanted to, it would have been a real exclusive. But it came
at the
out
end of the
today.
day, we've been talking to this band for a while, and again, it's just getting them on the map. Really, I mean, they're doing pretty fucking good for themselves.
Yeah,
to be
they've
fair.
got a gig tonight in London, I think it is. So,
I think it is.
So
yeah.
good luck to you guys. When you hear this, it'll probably would have happened, but good luck. I think you'll smash it.
But wait until you hear it, guys. It's pretty good. Then we have Nouvelle. I think I've said that right.
Nouvelle. Yeah.
We've got Three Little Wolves. Then we have Jack Davey, Feverjaw, and the Rahs. So we've got quite a good range of music. We've got some pretty decent riffages going on, and we can't wait to play it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the exclusive till last because it's an exclusive. I want to keep
you interested.
I mean, to be fair, you'll probably just skip the fucking
Hopefully he's still listening.
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do, the first song that I'm going to play is from Crystal Teardrop. And let me just find that big old boy. Where is it? So this song is by Crystal Teardrop, and it's called 9 times 9. So that was 9 times 9 by the Crystal Teardrops. Now, like we said, every kind of genre is welcome. Now, personally, I fucking love that. Like,
Yeah.
my dad got me into the swinging 60s, really, but it was all kind of like rock and roll sort of thing. So The Who, The Kinks, Jimi Hendrix. And when I heard that, like I said at the start of the show, it was like, where's it been, like, since then? Because, like, I think when people try and do a style from an era that's gone, it's almost parody-like. And I think it's like, this is going to sound so cheesy, but you don't feel it, do you?
No.
Like, it's almost like, yeah, I can see what you're going for, but
That's gone.
it's just not the thing. Whereas with them, excuse me, you can tell they eat, sleep, and breathe that feel, that vibe.
Yeah.
And I was just saying, while he was playing to the lads here, that I really like that kind of really pushed fuzz guitar sound.
Yeah.
And like, I'm absolutely terrible with naming effects, but like, I've never done LSD, but I imagine if I close my eyes, push my eyes into my head and spun around a while, that's what I'd hear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I would see.
Lovely, like, psychedelic trip.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, I've got their statement thing here. Where are you?
I really like that. I really enjoyed that track.
Like, in their own words, the band's music demonstrates innate affection for all things 1966. And because we won the World Cup
World
then.
Cup as well that year.
Yeah. But it's like, it ranges from classic artists such as the Beatles, the Kinks, to like the Great Society, Love and the Birds, you know. There's so many different... I mean, they haven't mentioned Hendrix in it, but if you ever listen to something like Burning of the Midnight Lamp, to me that is the epitome of 60s. It's just war and phase shifting. It's full-on trippy as shit.
Like Doors as well.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I suppose it's the certain sounds they've got, really. But I'm absolutely loving it, and I think
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
it's really nice to have that kind of folk, in a way.
Yeah.
A nice folky sound.
I think London are in for a
what was it
treat
called? Like
tonight.
acid folk?
Acid funk.
Folk. Because it's almost like, I imagine them being in a field. You know what I mean?
Yeah, peace
Dancing
and love.
around with, like,
Peace and love, yeah.
So I quite like that one, to be fair.
I enjoyed that. Yeah. No, really good. Well done, guys. I think London are in for a treat tonight.
Definitely, I think if you want to be having a very, especially with the sun coming out now, if you want to have a great night, London, you're in for a fucking blast. But we are going to move on. We are going to move on because we've got love to share. We have love to share. Give me 1 second. I'm
Peace
having
peace and love.
peace and love.
Peace and love.
Where are you? This next one is called Blood Starved, and it's by the band Nouvelle. So, my friends, are you ready? Oh,
Ready.
Are you ready? Seriously, you guys are like, what the fuck, man? Stop pressing that motherfucking button. Anyway, this one is Blood Starved by Nouvelle. So that was Blood Starved by Nouvelle. Now, my cup of tea was like the psychedelic stuff. And I do love my metal and whatnot. I mean, Bruce, this is very much your kind of thing right now, and yourself, Phil. So I'm going to let you take the floor on this, and I'll chip in when I can.
Well, that intro was just epic. I love the heaviness of it. It's very Alice in Chains, the second iteration of the band when they had the new singer. Like just that heavy dirtiness to the riff, and when the bass comes in. I was waiting for Jerry Cantrell to start singing.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Because when I spoke to Pierce, the singer, really nice guy, and he was really up for this, and he was really excited about it as well. And he said like about his influence. One of their influences is like Funeral for a Friend, and me being the typical old git that I am, I was like, yeah, I saw Funeral for a Friend open up for Iron Maiden in like 2003, and he was like, wow. He's like, I've not actually seen Funeral for a Friend yet, but hopefully I'm going to see him this year. So Pierce, I really hope you do see him this year. But yeah, he was like, I love Funeral for a Friend. I went, yeah, that's why I'm opening up for Iron Maiden. And it made me feel like really old.
Well, for me, like being now the bassist and singer, like I can't do them vocals. That's beyond me at the minute. I mean, I'm not saying I'll never do it, but I can't do it. But I really like the fact that it goes ridiculously scream on. Then he's like, "Wake up!" Like
Wake up, yeah.
Honestly, it's like suddenly.
And then the harmony.
Yeah. But then as a bassist, that outro, like I'm trying to find, at the minute I use two different basses, and the bass I do want to use, which is the well, if you come to the gig you'll see 15th of April 15th.
Get the day right.
I know, yeah. And I think it's listening to it, it's like I do love a good driven bass. And I think, obviously, I'm using a new amp. I've got to do a new bass. But listening to that, I was like, that's fucking dirty. I mean, obviously, they clearly down tune. But that,
certainly do, yeah.
Like, the structure of that song and, like, excuse me, it's, for me, on an instrument level, it was perfect. Like, you could hear everything. And generally, I find with tracks like that, the bass is generally hidden. Especially when it is a driven sound. I mean, you could feel it like a king, but you could hear it. It's like a bark, like a growl, and I absolutely love it on that. But I have to say that was pretty fucking lovely.
And that you look at the first track we played, that sort of psychedelic trip. Compared to that, it's like chalk and cheese. It's two completely different tracks there, which I could see them two be on the same bill together. Oh, that'd be quite funny.
Oh God,
that'd be really cool to see. But you know what I mean? But two very different tracks, and I think a very good start.
Yeah. Oh God, I think the vocals are good on that song because they're not what I was expecting. I don't know about you guys, but and the fact that like you said, Ben, the vocals change from the higher stuff to the deeper growly stuff.
Yeah,
it takes you in a nice direction, I think, because it's not generic. You're not like going, I expected this. It's like something
you weren't
different.
Expecting after the intro. You weren't expecting
certainly
that.
not.
But I think when you hear stuff like that intro, Will, like you hear that heavy, like you just hear the kind of the big machine sound, so to speak. Generally, I'm like, it's just going to be someone screaming or growling. I'm not going to know what they're saying. But the very fact that there was some growls, some screams, and to be fair, some beautiful singing. Like,
in all fairness, for me, I've listened to this track quite a few times, so I'm really big fan of it. And I think you've watched it a few times as well, haven't you? We watched it a few times and yours the other night on YouTube.
Blasting it,
it's
definitely one you want to play again.
I really like the track.
You know what I mean? And I think the more you listen, the more you hear. For me, the more I hear something else, I'm like, oh shit, I didn't hear that last time.
And the video is very stylish as well.
Yeah, I've not seen the video, to be fair. I've just been listening to the audio of it. But to be fair, I love it. So the next song is called The Garden, and it's by a band called The Three Little Wolves. But before we play it, my man Phil, I'm pretty sure you got some words you need to say.
I have. I was speaking to Paul on Twitter, and again, he was really excited to take part in this. So thank you, mate. Really good. He was the one who thought your production company was called Into the Wood.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I was like, Into the Wood. And then I was like, spoke to you guys, and I think you were at work, and Bruce was like, is it The Void? And I said I was like, is it The Void? And he was like, yeah, sorry. I wonder why I couldn't find it on Twitter. So sorry, Paul, to say that to you. But on a really serious note, unfortunately, Paul's brother-in-law, Phil, sadly passed away recently. He had brain cancer. And this is not the track we're going to play, but they did a cover version of "Okay to Be Human," and that song is available on their Bandcamp to purchase, and all the proceeds from that go to brain cancer charity. So I think that's a really special message and a really nice touch. And I have heard the track, and it is very nice. And obviously, one of our best friends, Wayne, my best friend, he's recently had brain surgery as well. So, he's on the mend now, but obviously Phil wasn't so lucky, which is a real shame. From what I understand, it came along like really quickly and unexpectedly. So, and he was only 45 like me. So, only a young man. In theory, I'm not young, but I feel young. And I'm sure he did too. So I think it's a really important message. So obviously we'll play The Garden, which we'll all enjoy. It's a really nice track again. But if you like this track, even if you don't, maybe just go and check out "Okay to Be Human" on their Bandcamp and download that, because it is for a good cause.
Yeah, all the socials for Three Little Wolves, including the charity info, will all be in the bio of this podcast as well. So from the Three Little Wolves, this is The Garden. So that was The Garden by the Three Little Wolves. Sorry, I was just scratching my nostril then. So listen to that. I have two things that come to mind. Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And for some reason, Bruce, you can vouch for this. Whenever I'm trying to describe a sound or an idea in my head, I generally have, there's always a movie of some reference. Like, if I'm trying to describe an idea I've got in my head, I'm like, imagine you doing this, or imagine this is happening. And Bruce is like, just tell me what to play or something like that. Even like Damon, our drummer, is just like, what the fuck are you on about, Ben? It's like, because generally I describe things with colour. So like, to me, it sounds like a really vibrant red. And people are like, what? Sound doesn't have colour? I'm like, it does. I see this. But when I listened to that, initially I just remember, it just took me back to playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 of all things. But then it just sounded like someone being chased. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever you ever seen the film Memento?
Yes, where they get all the tattoos.
Yeah, because he's got no short-term memory. There's a part where he's running. He's like, "Why am I running? Who's that guy? I'm chasing that guy." And then he goes to chase him. He shoots him. He's like, "No, he's chasing me. He's chasing me." In my head, that would fit perfect because it's got that kind of like your heart beating kind of vibe. I don't know about you guys, but I just had.
Nice track.
Those two things came to mind.
Nice track, yeah. Nice indie sound on that one. You know, it
kind of had a trippy sound.
It did, yeah. But it could fit in. I think Three Little Wolves would describe themselves probably as indie, but to me, it could also sort of fit under the moniker of rock as well. Do you know what I mean?
The guitars are pretty heavy in that.
Yeah, the guitars would like a nice sound.
It was very tight,
very
yeah.
tight, yeah.
Yeah, the guitars are punchy.
I think what I like it.
So I think they could fit on a. What I'm trying to say is they could easily fit on a rock bill and an indie bill.
Yeah, I don't like this term, but they're very universal.
Yeah,
like you could please a lot of people with it. It's good on the ears.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It was very. I don't like the word pleasant, but it was. I know it's something you would listen to again.
If it was the Fat Show, you'd say nice.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? That was good. No, it was good. It was a good track. You could put that on and just sit there and like. Relax and go, yeah, I like that. It's not going to make Smash the House up.
It was. I enjoyed it. To be fair, I mean, so far we've had 3 very different tracks.
Very different.
Four different tracks.
Yeah.
Oh no, 3. Sorry,
three. Yeah, 3.
The fourth one is one I'm about to introduce. This one is by a band called Feverjaw, and it's called Sweetener. Wait until you hear this one, my friends. Why have I changed my voice so much? Why am I eyeballing you guys in this voice?
I'm scared. Yeah. Play the track.
I'm going to play the track now. Enjoy.
All this life left to
So that was Feverjaw with Sweetener. Now, how I said before, I hear things and see things with colour. We was just reading there, like how they describe themselves, and literally they said that they use colour. I love it. I absolutely love it. So what did you guys take on that? I again, looking at as for what I now do in our band, that bass was lovely.
Really
I like
nice,
that.
really nice bass.
That raspy bass sound.
Yeah, it was
kind of very a bit similar to like early Kasabian maybe when they were good.
yeah.
Stop.
I did like the fact that just like the other songs before, they've been mixed really well for a start. Like everything's very clear, very I don't know. You can hear everything. I don't know about you guys, but it kind of gave me that like just being in a festival.
Yeah.
It gave me that festival vibe. You know, the sun's beaming on me.
Having a beer.
Yeah, I'm definitely not staring at someone's bikini top coming undone. It gave me that vibe. You know what I mean? But I love that. To be fair, I could feel myself like jumping to it, especially like when you go to like a club or something. Not that I go clubbing because I'm old now, but it's.
Imagine that being played at Actress and Bishop.
Yeah. You could imagine that being played. Now hear me out. You could imagine being played in the Flapper, upstairs.
Yeah.
Now everyone's smashed and everyone's just like, yeah. Even
Just on a rock
that
night,
wears the
everyone just-
Hawaiian shirt playing pool.
Everyone just going crazy on a rock night.
These are pubs in Birmingham, by the way, people. So
Yeah,
obviously,
very
if you're listening, not from Birmingham.
I just want to
These are
say,
pubs in Birmingham.
Birmingham
Cool
is the home
pubs.
of metal. Black Sabbath.
It's hard to argue that point. To be fair,
I mean, come on. I met the godfather of Doom, shook his hand. I
Also
shook
the
hand of
home
God.
of Duran Duran, so we can't be absolved of all.
is that why you've only got one hand now?
I don't even.
Because you didn't wash it.
I don't wash it. I mean, I masturbate with it. You know, I want the hand of God touching my tremolo arm. But yeah. To be fair, I really like that one.
I did.
That was a really nice one.
Very nice sound. Not a nice alternative rock.
Yeah.
Not when I think of that, I think like therapy.
Yeah.
I had a very
yeah.
therapy feel.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I'm not saying they've like copied therapy, far from it, but I got that kind of,
Yeah.
Andy Cairns kind of vocal with the, the kind of a bit of oomph. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got balls.
Yeah. It's definitely got
It's
a
got
good
balls.
backbeat behind it. Like it's driven. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But we'll move on to the next song, which is by a band called the Rahs. Which am I correct in saying they're from Scotland?
Scotland, Glasgow.
There we
They're
go.
also playing tonight, so good luck to them.
Yeah, as obviously as of this
Hi
recording.
to Sam, who's been very supportive, allowing us to play this track. She retweeted about the podcast, so really appreciate that. So thank you, Sam. Hope you've enjoyed yourselves tonight.
Awesome. Well, this one, like I said, is by the Rahs, and it's called "The Time Is Now."
Now is the time, a time you'll look back on, a time you adopt as inspiration. You will recollect this time, this moment, right now. Motivate yourself towards success. Overcome, take over. The time is now.
So that was the Rahs. The time is now. Now, again, that one I feel is something you'd be proper bouncing to in a venue. Again, because of the way my mind works, I envision a car chase when I hear that. No, because your time is now. I just imagine someone like fully going for it. Pardon me. And being the vocalist now, if you can hear that, that band is really loud. I feel with the way that the energy that song gives off, like it's for me, that's like a feel good song.
Real feel good.
You know what I mean?
song.
Like, you know, you just need a bit of like, fuck yeah. Like, for instance, with Unsigned Mayhem, Time Is Now. Absolutely love that.
I was going to say that. It's a bit cheesy, like, but that kind of reminded me of like what I was saying earlier, like the time is now, like, you know, we're going to do it now, let's do it now, and that's the same thing. Like, from their perspective, they're a young band, and they're like, our time is now, let's grasp it. And I did say earlier, I think they're from Glasgow. I'm not sure. The bio says like near Edinburgh, but obviously, you know, but I know they're playing a gig tonight. I'm pretty sure it is Glasgow. So, you know, break a leg to them. But I think they're the kind of band who will have the crowd in the palm of their hand.
Well, what I do like is the fact that his vocals, the delivery was beautiful.
Yeah.
Very controlled. You can hear that, but then you can also get that kind of grit behind it.
Yeah.
But it was just when it was needed.
Yeah.
And what I find with a lot of bands that are going for like a similar sound, it's just all or nothing. Where that one, it was perfect blend, and like the drums in that,
lovely,
solid sound. You know, overall, love it.
Yeah, really good track. And I think really good. I think real good track.
What about you, Bruce? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, like you said, Ben, pretty lively track. Like I said to you guys before, more so the middle bit, I'd say more the bass and the vocals give me very much a early 80s the Cult vibe.
Yeah, good call. Yeah,
like Rain or Seashell Sanctuary. I'm surprised I said that one take, but just that drive, like you saying that pumping drive that makes you feel like it's a chase scene or something. Or you're playing in a club and you just like fucking get on your feet. It sounds and dance stupid, around.
But it makes me feel hot. Because my heart's beating.
I was going to say, I don't condone violence in any way. But it's a kind of song you can imagine, like watching footage of people having a scrap at the football.
Like in Green Street.
Yeah, and that being like played over the top.
Yeah.
And it'd be perfect. And I think a word we used earlier, tight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can tell they
well-oiled,
are sufficient in playing live.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do, we're going to end... we've got 2 more to play. And the next one, I do want to apologise for earlier because I said the name wrong. It's not Jack Davey, it's Jake Davey. So, my man, I do apologise. I, for some reason, know many Jacks. And naturally, when I see the word Jake, I say Jack. No idea why. But this one is called Grind Our Bones, and it's by Jake Davey. So, have a listen to this.
Don't forget we got power and
So that was Jake Davey with Grind Our Bones. Now, like we said at the very, very start of the show, we're not here just for metal, for rock, for whatever. We're here for everything. And as you can see, we've gone from psychedelic to, hard rock, a bit indie rock to, what would you class that as? The thing is, it's completely different to what you've heard. And that fucking wah pedal solo.
Yeah, that's
Good
nice.
God, Kirk Hammer, watch out. It was lovely because it's almost unexpected. I expected a solo, but like an acoustic-y solo, if you know what I mean, because it's a sad song. Like you can kind of feel the emotion behind it, but that solo was lovely, and the fact that his voice, I call it the roller coaster, where it kind of goes up, down, and up.
Yeah,
and it was very, don't know how to word it, very violin-y. You know, and it just keeps it going.
yeah.
So I really enjoy that, to be fair. And the bass was absolutely lovely. A very solid bass behind it.
Yeah.
But I was taken by that bloody solo. That was lovely.
It was a nice track. And I don't want to keep using this, but I think when we do Phil Fest, we work on the name. When we do Phil Fest, you hopefully do it in the summer, and you can imagine being in a field, everyone's standing around having a drink, and he's up there doing his thing.
that is very much
And it
a
would
summer
be like,
festival.
man, this is proper chilled.
Yeah.
Proper
Now,
chilled.
to me, he sounded more like he's like you're in a bar at night, and it's like he's playing to like just a chilled out crowd,
Yeah.
like that as well.
Yeah.
Like, and you just sat there with a whiskey, lean up against the bar.
I don't know how this is going to come across, but it sounds like, when you go to a place and you're not really paying attention, and all of a sudden you hear something, you're like,
Oh,
what's that?
Yeah, what's that?
That sounds like the head turner. Like, you're like, where's that coming from? And then you're kind of like, okay, I'm liking where this is coming from.
I'm liking that. Yeah, but like imagine I go to like an open mic night, and he comes on, but like, whoa.
There's that one person you're like,
Yeah.
wow, okay, now it's interesting. I'm not sitting in this library for no reason now. I did an open mic night once in a library. It was very weird.
Yeah.
Getting 20 grown-ups to do wheels on the bus because you forgot what you were singing.
Did you get shushed?
Mate,
It'll- Shh. Oh, sorry, library. Sorry.
honestly, it was weird. It was a very weird thing. But, I really enjoyed that one. So, it's that point in the podcast where we're going to play an exclusive. Now, it's from the band Mechanized, and it's called the Asherian Stairwell. Also, comment down below, or wherever you are, social medias, if you know what the Asherian Stairwell is. But this is that. So that was only a 30-second clip. Bruce, tell the wonderful listeners why.
Well, that was an exclusive from Mechanized because it's been released today on Moshing the Roof Off Volume 4, which you can get on Bandcamp. And it's released for Shelter UK, and all proceeds go to that charity that help UK homelessness. So that's an exclusive right there.
And I have to say that knowing it's going to that is actually really nice.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I do want to add, on the 14th of April, the day before our gig, that it will be released on all platforms as well. But I absolutely love the fact that they're trying to do something for,
Yeah. Particularly for an unsigned band.
Well, yeah.
We were trying to get ourselves out there to do a track to basically give it to charity when you're trying to fund your own charity, because I think what we were trying to say earlier about bands going out of business or bands knocking it on the head because they're not making any money or whatnot, and then already they're doing tracks for the greater good.
Also, it's worth mentioning that there's 32 tracks on this Moshing the Roof Off Volume 4, so you get your money's worth.
How much is that?
But all the prices we'll put down in the description and whatnot.
Okay.
We'll leave
Yeah,
links
yeah.
to it just so
You
people can...
£10.
£10, it was 34
£10
tracks. ain't
well
bad,
spent.
ain't bad, and it's for a good cause.
Exactly. Also, they are playing. Where is it? They're playing the Thrashchester Festival in Manchester on my birthday, November 18th. So if you want to see what can only be described as fucking beautiful music just then, that was only 30 seconds, but go and join them. But what did you guys take on that 30-second snippet? Like, because for me, there's whenever I hear something like that, there's one game that comes to mind. Now, like I said, I see things in a different view. But have you ever played the game Carmageddon?
Yes.
That game, I played that when I shouldn't have at the age of 7. But when number 2 came out is when I got introduced to, I'm sure it was that game, but Blaze Bayley. We're falling down.
When he was like maiden singer.
Yeah. When they had to down tune because he couldn't sing too high. But obviously, I do want to say, get well soon because he had a heart attack.
I was going to say, get well soon, Blaze. Get the listening, Blaze.
Because of that, it made me really love. It made me love music in games. When I hear that, I think of just high action, fucking, balls to the wall, just fucking.
To be honest,
music,
you saying that, I was a massive Iron Maiden fan at the time, and like most Iron Maiden fans, I was proper furious when Bruce left. But when I heard that song, Falling Down, I thought, fair play, what a great...
It's called X Factor or something like that.
Yeah, what a great track. Having your first single with Iron Maiden, following Bruce, what a killer track. Yeah. That is a brilliant song. I love that song, yeah.
It took me a while to warm to Bruce's style, but Blaze, I think, because it was just like straight to the point, there was no theatrics.
Well, I heard Blaze in other bands as well, so yeah.
Well, he's been around, hasn't he?
Yeah, so,
But this song just gave me that vibe, like, just of that game.
Yeah.
It sounds stupid, but obviously the point of Carmageddon, if you've never played it, there's 3 ways you can win the game. Do laps, because it's a racing game. Kill your opponents or kill all the civilians.
And I think that would be all 3, wouldn't it? Just kill everybody.
Yeah.
Because when I was
we're not saying the song makes you want to kill. I'm just saying it gives me that adrenaline that I used to have in that game.
Drive safely, people.
Yeah,
drive safe.
Drive safe in the real world.
Wear seatbelts.
When I was saying earlier...
Don't masturbate and drive.
Yeah, or watch Pornhub. But yeah, because that bloke didn't he? He was watching Pornhub and he crashed the car, which, it's going to happen, really. But... when I said earlier, like, that's about the song, I can't remember which track it was now, but I said, like, this track was not make you want to trash your house, where this track would want to make me trash my house. But
it's energy.
But in a good way, yeah, because I love that kind of shit.
Full on energy.
Like, this, I want to get excited now. And I'm not saying I'm excited about the other bands, because I am, but this kind of music, I love this shit.
But that's the thing, and this is the point of Unsigned Mayhem. It's not about any particular genre.
No.
There's some genres that will... definitely you'll feel it. Like, obviously psychedelic is very much my thing. I love the 60s. I mean, I don't fucking play stuff like that, but I love that thing where you guys would be like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
Whereas that, it's not my normal cup of tea, but fuck me, did it make me feel like
good.
Like, I want to go and pick up my guitar now and play very badly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because, but you could technically pick a genre that we all 3 like, play a track that no one's ever heard, and we'd have 3 different opinions on it.
Yeah, completely.
I love. If you listen to On the Music Man podcast, which I did before, I talk about my love for thrash metal and stuff, and I love thrash metal, but I don't. I hear bands and I'm like, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
And someone will go, oh, that band's amazing. I'm like, not for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that is the beauty of music, isn't it? But you can hear a band and you think, Jesus Christ, that's amazing. Well, and you might hear it and go, Filth, it was awful.
Well, that's like me with Iron Maiden and Halloween. They're basically the same thing. One's German, one's English. But I love Halloween, not a fan of Iron Maiden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that's why this show is... well, not the show, but that's why Unsigned Mayhem is important. Because it's... you got it, bring it.
Yeah,
We'll help you. Yeah. You know what I mean? But we are going to end the show. Did I have anything else I wanted to say? Ever since I was a little boy. So before we end the show, I just want to say thank you, obviously, to everyone listening. Phil, this is your child, really, your creation. So thank you very much for letting us be a part of it. Is there anything anyone wants to say?
All I want to say is thank you for you two for being part of it and being here with us. Like I threw the idea out there and you guys were, really interested, which usually I've heard an idea out there, people go, yeah. But, you guys were interested and you went with it and I think in a short space of time, we've reached a lot of people. Me personally, I don't want that to stop. Email the Something Else Podcast, get in touch, Something Else Podcast, Room for More Records.
We will put all our socials.
We'll put all the socials in the bio.
Yeah.
If you're a band, I don't care what band you are, come to us. We'll play you. We'll support you. We'll promote you. We'll put a gig on. We'll party. This is only the start. Let's get a right good thing going. And let this podcast be talked about.
I just want to add to that, as well as playing the songs, we are going to get bands on.
Yeah.
Because what better way to hear them than from themselves, you know what I mean? It's one thing for us to read what they've said or how they describe themselves, what people have said, but we want them on the show because in the end of the day, we're here for them. That's what this is for, those bands. Bruce, is there anything you want to throw out there?
Basically, just what Phil said, that we want to, going forward, we want to expand it to put gigs on if other bands are interested, and get promoting on the socials and see if we can get something going.
Yep, we're more than happy to promote your tracks, sell your tracks. You know,
we want to help you make it.
Yeah,
we want you heard. We want you to be seen because dinosaurs are dying, and they need someone to carry the torch, as we said earlier. Well, as I said earlier, and what better way to pass that torch than to the generation that is making it happen, which is the local music scene, not just in Birmingham but generally.
I'm already seeing the festival in my head. I can already see it, man. I can already see the running order.
See, he's already like 5 steps ahead. But we are going to end the show there, but we're going to end it with one more track. So obviously we played a snippet, which is going to be, it's out today, was it? My brain's gone.
Yeah,
that's out today, yeah.
And it's going to Shelter, the charity to house the homeless. I cannot speak today. But we're going to end with another track from Mechanized because why the fuck not? They're fucking genius. Loving their sound. And this one's called Out of the Womb into the Tomb.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Rock hard, rock heavy, rock animal. And I stole that from Crusher. But see you next time.
Yep, have a good one, guys.
Party on.
You stand up.